So they launched a white paper earlier this year, and then they said that in the course of the year, they'll be making lots and implementing lots of changes to the immigration system in the UK. Now, just a few days ago on the 1st July, they published major statements of changes to the immigration rules. And I did a video about it. I simplified it into 5 main points, and lots of people, were happy with the explanation and all of that. But there are still some areas, certain areas that are still not clear, and people have genuine concerns about them. Now, what happens next? Now, what do we do next with these new changes that have been published? Okay. And I have noticed that there are certain comments or certain questions that are very common in the comment section. People keep asking the same things. And so that makes me know that people are not really understanding that aspect of it. So today, I'm going to let you know what next after this publication. What next? What do we do now, right? And answer these common questions that keep reoccurring in the comment section. People have phoned me, those that have my numbers, people have emailed me and all of that. Now, I am going to list these questions and answer them. And I'm not going to answer them based on my knowledge. We are going to go into the gov.uk website and then use the new statement of changes, the explanatory memorandum, to explain it or to give answers to your questions, okay? So guys, stay tuned. It's going to be very, very, very helpful. So hi guys, welcome once again to my channel. My name is Anel Griselda. On this channel, I talk about nursing, I talk about migration, I talk about life in the UK as an immigrant in general. So if these are topics that interest you, please consider subscribing. First of all, thank you so much for the love and the comments in the comment section of everybody praising me about how I simplified the statement of changes to make it easy to understand. Thank you. I love the comments, right? And your lovely messages. Now, I am still worried that people do not understand a few things, and I'm going to clarify. Okay, I'm going to clarify. Now, disclaimer, I am not an immigration advisor. I have just read it and I'm coming to explain. So do not let this replace proper professional immigration advice. Not at all. I'm only a nurse. Okay, now let's start. So now what happens next? So we know that when they launched the white paper earlier in the year, I think at the time, the highlight of the white paper was the ILR probably going to change to 10 years, right? That was the highlight of it all. But in the recent published statement of changes, there was no mention of that. And, the language requirements for dependents as well and all of that being changed or increased, there was no mention of that as well. Now, people are wondering, so what happens to the ILR thing? What happens to the English language requirement thing? That is what I'm here to tell you that, wait, they are step by step and gradually they're laying out new rules, new policies to the immigration system and all of that, because in the long run they want to cut down on migration, including legal migration. Okay, so they are not going to publish everything at a go. It's gradual. So now what's going to happen next is that the Migration Advisory Committee is still going to review the temporary shortage occupation list that they are going to introduce. They are going to review the salaries, the occupations on the list, the occupations that are supposed to be on, probably new rules and new transition provisions and all of that. And we are also expecting update on the consultation that they said they are going to launch for the ILR, so that all the general public will give their opinion on it. And then now we'll know whether they listen to us or not, whether they are going to keep it for 5 years, or now they are going to say that the 10 years only applies to people that are yet to come in, or they are going to say the health and care worker visa holders are excluded. We don't know exactly the details for that one. So we are still waiting on that. And we don't have a date yet on that. Okay, so don't forget about that. The ILR question mark issues and policies that we are waiting for, we are still waiting for it. Okay, that's number one. Now, further changes that we are also expected to hear about is the issue with the increasing language requirement across the immigration system. Now we know that they are saying that they are going to increase the language requirements. And in my first video about the white paper, I spoke about it. Let me insert that short clip, okay, so that you remember. Now let's look at the English language requirements. So with the English language requirements, guys, they are saying that the system must support integration and community cohesion, including new rules on the ability to speak English and the contribution that people bring to the UK. They are going to now increase the English language requirement for skilled workers and workers where a language requirement already applies. So let's say if you're coming to the UK to work as an accountant, you need, let's say, a B1. They are now going to increase it to B2. Yes. So we are still waiting for updates on that. What exactly do they mean? And when is it going to be implemented? We don't know yet. So we are still waiting for that. So now we are waiting for the updates on the ILR. We are waiting on the updates regarding the English language requirements for dependents as well. We are also waiting on the dates that they are going to increase the immigration skills charge. charge that is still pending. They didn't mention it in the recent publication on 1st July. We are still waiting for an update on that one. And we are still waiting for an introduction of a family policy framework to Parliament. There's still bits and pieces. Even they also mentioned that they're going to change how the Life in the UK test is conducted. Said we haven't heard anything from that. So now we are still waiting for these ones. So don't be just excited just yet. We are still waiting to hear about all of these things later in the year and when they are coming into full effect. Now, somebody might ask that, what is the immigration skills charge? So let me read what the immigration skills charge is for you, okay? So the immigration skills charge is a fee that a UK employer pays when they sponsor migrant workers on certain visa rules, such as the skilled worker visa. So now, we all know that when an employer is bringing you, there are certain things that they have to pay for you. And one of them is the immigration skills charge, okay? At the moment, the fee is based on the size of the company and how long the person is going to work for you for. So now, the charge is about £1,000 per year per worker, and that is for large companies, and it's about £364 per worker per year for small companies and for charitable sponsors. Now, they are going to increase this along the line in the year, and that is extremely scary. So we don't know whether they are going to increase it from £1,000 per year per worker to £5,000 per year per worker. We don't know. And are they going to keep it for those that are yet to come in, or they are going to start implementing it from those that are even renewing their visas? Because remember, most skilled workers, when you come, you're giving a 3-year visa. So let's say if your company was a large company, they were going to pay $3,000 for that 3 years visa that they gave you. Now, if let's say you're due to renew your visa and they say that they're increasing the immigration skills charge, however, it is beginning from even those that are renewing their visas in the UK and they're increasing it to, let's say, £3,000 per worker per year, that means your employer would now have to pay about £9,000 to renew it for an additional 3 years, which is extreme. Imagine if they have 50 foreign staff, they might not be able to keep up. And that is the scary part. Most people have not even drawn their attention to that yet, but that is very scary. Will your employer now be willing to, renew your COS or renew your visa or help you extend your visa because if they have to pay a very huge amount for immigration skills charge? Now, let me explain. There are some companies that do not need to pay. So you will not have to pay the charge if you are sponsoring someone with one of the following occupation codes, and I'll leave it on there. There's 211, that's a chemical scientist, then there's biological scientist 2112, then there's biochemist and biomedical scientist 2113, there's physical scientist 2114. The code is just the code on the occupation list, okay, or the immigration salary list. Then there's social and humanities scientists, the code is there. Then there's natural and social science professionals not elsewhere classified. There's research and development managers, other researchers, unspecified discipline, higher education teaching professionals, okay? So if the person you are sponsoring is in any of these occupation codes, then you don't have to pay as an employer, okay? So they are the only ones who are exempt. However, I didn't see something like 2231, which is the midwifery nurses code. I didn't see 2232, which is the registered community nurses. I didn't see 2233, registered specialist nurse. I didn't see 2234, registered nurse practitioners. I didn't see 2237, other registered. I didn't see any of the nursing professional codes there. So it means that those that employ nurses have to pay the immigration skills charge as well. Let me even let you know how scary this is. This is from the gov.uk website, guys, as you can see from the screenshot. If the worker will be in the UK for longer than 6 months but less than a year, you must pay for at least 12 months. You must pay the full charge in one go. The longest you can sponsor a worker for is 5 years. So the most you'll have to pay is, let's say, 1,820 for 5 years. That's for the 5-year amount if you're a small or a charitable sponsor, and you're paying £5,000 if you're a medium or a large sponsor, okay? And if this should increase, guys, you can only imagine how employers will now not want to renew the visas for a lot of their staff if they get local workers. All what they are doing is to make it tough for employers to recruit foreign professionals. And this is one scary bit, okay? So these are the things that we are waiting for. Updates on when they are increasing the immigration skills charge and who it is affecting, updates on the ILR, updates on the English language requirements and all of that. Now that we know what to expect or what next, let's go on to answer some of the questions that were bothering the minds of people. So this person asked, the name is Trang Dang. He says, "Hi Nanel, I want to study a Bachelor of Science in Nursing in the UK for 3 years, then apply for a nursing job in the UK. Is it still possible?" Okay, so what is the process? You're going to come to the UK on a student visa. Yes, that's still possible. Now, when you finish the program, you're on a student visa and you can't work as a nurse on a student visa. You now have to apply for a skilled worker visa, specifically a health and care worker visa. Now, there are two lists, okay? Potentially. We already have the immigration salary list, which replaced the shortage occupation code that was there years ago. We still have that immigration salary list there, where nurses are still a part of, okay? So those who don't know the immigration salary list, okay, it is a list with different job roles with their codes, okay, where employers can hire skilled foreign workers under the UK immigration route with a reduced salary threshold compared to the general requirements. That is why some nurses are in the UK earning, let's say, 28,000 because they wait for the NHS and they are entry band 5 level, but they are still allowed to come, although that salary threshold does not meet the salary threshold to come to the UK as a worker, okay, but they are allowed because the government has realized that these jobs are very highly important and they should be secluded from the general ones, so they put them on an immigration salary list. Okay, now let's look at the immigration salary list. Let's just have a look at it and see how it's like. So this is the immigration salary list. All these jobs are on there. The immigration salary list is still existent, okay, so nursing is still on the immigration salary list. However, if you go onto the immigration salary list based on this page, you will not be able to see it, but there's a separate page for healthcare workers. When you open the one for healthcare workers, this is what it says. It says there are different salary rules if you work in some healthcare or education jobs. Your salary must be at least 25,000 a year or more if your job's going rate is higher. The going rates for these jobs are based on the national pay scale set by the relevant independent body, for example, the NHS. Then they give. So the reason why nurses are still able to come to the UK, even though most nurses still earn lower than the salary threshold to come to the UK as a skilled worker visa, even as of now, before the new rules, is because the nursing profession is on the immigration salary list. That is why. So why am I saying all of this? I'm saying that Trangdang, if by the time that you finish your nursing school, the immigration salary list is still existent and nursing is on there, you'll still be able to come. Or after you graduate on your nursing program, you'll still be able to apply for a skilled worker visa or a health and care worker visa because you are a nurse, and then be able to apply. You should be able to do that if the immigration salary list is still existent and nursing is still on there, provided nothing changes. However, now they said they are going to introduce what we call a temporary shortage occupation list based on the new rules that were launched on the 1st of July. If the immigration salary list is no longer there and the temporary shortage occupation list is there and nursing is on it, you should be able to come on that one. So the critical part is that they said the ISL, which is the immigration salary list, will be phased out in future and the TSL will be reviewed by the MAC. So if the immigration salary list, they are hoping to phase it out in the future. So as to whether by the time that you are done with your nursing school, it is still on there and nursing is still on there, I do not know. And as to whether it will be on the temporary shortage list, I do not know. But I am very, almost 100% sure that nursing will always be in one of those lists at the entire time. I strongly agree. Another thing is that even if all of these lists are no longer existent, you can still come on a normal skilled worker visa, provided you are a degree holder based on the new rules and provided that your employer is willing to pay you 41,700 a year. If you meet these requirements, you can still come. Now, the second question is that, please, what about carers in the UK already whose ILR is not due by 2028? After eradicating care worker visa, what will be the fate of those carers? I think a lot of people ask me these questions in various forms. Now, they never use the word eradicate, okay, that they are eradicating the care worker visa. Let me read exactly what they said. They said, overseas recruitment for social care worker roles will also end in 22nd July 2025. Following concerns of widespread abuse, exploitation, and non-compliance in the sector. While new overseas applications will no longer be accepted, transitional provisions will allow in-country switching for carers already in the UK until 22nd July 2028. To qualify, workers must have been legally employed by their sponsor for at least 3 months prior to their application. Now, they're also saying that these changes include transitional arrangements allowing existing skilled worker visa holders to continue to extend their visas, bring dependents, change employment, take supplementary employment, while applying the new rules to applicants from overseas and those applying to switch from other routes. This particular question is difficult to explain in a way, okay? They are saying that they are going to stop applications, new entry clearance, going to stop, okay? And they are saying that the new rules apply to those that are applying from overseas employees and those applying to switch from other routes. But they said that you can still extend your visa. As for the changing of employers, you can only change it up to 22nd of July 2028. But with regards to extending your visa, they did not give any deadline. So if you're on a care worker visa, for now, you're okay. You can still change employers up until 22nd of July 2028. But when it comes to doing additional jobs, extending your visa, and all of that, they never actually put a date to when that is ending. So you should still be able to, even after 2028, you should still be able to extend your visa. So far as you are still on that visa, you should be able to extend it. That 22nd July 2028, they only mentioned that for the switching of employers. The next question. This person says, I have completed a Bachelor of Engineering. Am I eligible to apply for skilled worker visa as a pharmaceutical technician in the UK as per the new immigration rules? Please advise. So first of all, pharmaceutical technician, you have to check whether they are in the immigration salary list. Like I said, as at the time I'm speaking with you right now, the immigration salary list is still existent. So if your job is on there, I'll show you the immigration salary list on the screen. If pharmaceutical technician is on there and you get an employer, you should be able to come based on a lower salary threshold. Okay. Now, if you are able to get a job that pays you 41,700 a year, that means you meet the new salary threshold for skilled workers and you are a bachelor's degree holder, you can come with a normal skilled worker visa regardless. If that job gives you that amount of money and you're a bachelor's degree holder, you can come. However, if that job does not give you that amount and is on the immigration salary list, you can't come. Okay. Until the immigration salary list is scraped off, you can still come. Now, if this job, pharmaceutical technician, is placed on the temporary shortage list, you will still be able to come even if you don't have a degree. Just that, because you don't have a degree, you are now in a job on the temporary shortage list, you won't be able to bring your family. I hope that makes sense. So this applies to every job. Okay. So far as your job is willing to pay you 41,700 a year and you are at least a bachelor's degree holder, you should be able to come to the UK on a skilled worker visa if you're needed. However, if your job is not on the immigration salary list or the immigration salary list is phased out, but your job is on the temporary shortage list, which they are now going to develop, you should be able to come even if you don't have a degree, but you can't bring your dependent. Now, the tricky thing is, how many jobs even pay 41,000 a year? I don't know of many jobs that. Do you know? The only area, because there are even some doctors that don't even earn that in the UK. I'm telling you, the only fields that I can confidently say that they are more likely to pay people in this sector 41,700 with ease is the IT sector. That is why at this point in time, if you are watching me and you're listening and you're still very eager to migrate to the UK to work and you're not into tech, you're not into IT, you're funny. When it comes to getting into the tech space or the IT space, I recommend 10 Analytics. Guys, I have worked with these guys for a while. I have seen the testimonies and the joys that they brought to people's face, those that want to go into IT or tech. Guys, I'll leave some IT job rules on the screen. I'm not saying that all IT jobs pay 41,700 or more, but that sector, they people have money. That IT sector, they pay them well. So you're more likely to get an IT job that will pay you that amount of money for you to be able to meet the requirements, for you to come as a skilled worker if you have a degree as well, with ease. And you don't have to worry about all of these shenanigans and all of these clauses and all of that. Data analyst, cybersecurity, HR analyst, and all of that. If you want to go into IT or tech, take the screenshots on the screen right now. That's the 10 Analytics, their website. Also look in my description and go on their page. You can book a call with them. You can join their community page. The link to join their community page will be in the description as well. Go on there, join it, ask questions. They will tell you which one will pay you for 21,000 so that you can start the program. And they give you internship as well. And they give you reference. And they help you with your CV. They help you get visa sponsored jobs when you're done. I said it. Now, let's go on to the next question. So another person sent me a message on WhatsApp asking whether they'll be affected if they are extending their visa as nurses or if they reduce their hours at work as nurses because of the new salary threshold. Like I said, okay, these new rules, they said that it applies to those that are now applying from overseas and those that are now switching to these visa categories, okay? But if you're already in the system, little is affecting you as at now that I'm talking. You should still be able to extend your visa. You still should be able to take on additional work. You still should be able to work for your employer, okay? Nothing has really changed yet, just yet, for those that are already in the UK, especially for the nurses. Because, like I said, the immigration salary list is still existent and nurses are on the immigration salary list. So we are not affected by this new salary threshold. We are not. Unless they scrape off your salary list and they say that, or they say nurses are no longer on it, which they haven't said yet. Now, Somebody is asking, how does this affect self-sponsorship? So those who don't know self-sponsorship is basically nurses coming to the UK by themselves on a visit visa to do the exams on their own and now applying for jobs on their own. If you're looking to do the self-sponsorship or to take the self-sponsorship route, I'll advise that you contact EMGS. Okay, they have helped several nurses, and these people, the EMGS team, they are all migrant nurses, and they have helped several nurses to be able to finish the process on their own and get jobs. I'm not saying they'll get you a job, but they'll aid you in the process of passing your OSCE, getting your CV done, UK standard, interview preparations, and all of that, so that you can make your self-sponsorship journey easy. Now, you can still come to the UK on a visit visa to finish the process. But like I said, when you finish the job that you are getting, if at that time that you are getting the job, nursing is still on the immigration salary list, then there's no issue. If it is phased out and nursing is on the temporary shortage occupation list, then it is no issue. I know very well that they are still going to place nurses, either keep nurses on the immigration salary list or the temporary shortage occupation list. Someone said, and this one is the most difficult question of all, someone said, something I heard from this video and I'm not sure of. Does this new law prevent those already in the UK on a graduate visa to switch to care visa after July 2025? Now, the wording is very confusing. And now I'm even confused myself. When you read this particular statements, that skilled worker entry clearance applications for care workers and senior care workers are being closed while maintaining in-country switching applications for a transition period until 22nd July 2028. Now, that transition period of in-country switching, when you read it into detail, they did mention that it's for switching employers, and for that one, you should have even been working for your employer for at least 3 months. So if you are now switching from a student's visa to this one, how would you prove that you've been working for your employer for at least 3 months? Plus, that when you read this other statement as well, they're saying, while applying the new rules to applicants from overseas and those applying to switch from other routes. So the new routes sort of like apply for those switching from other routes as well. So you're most likely not going to be able to get an entry clearance or a visa as a carer based on these statements. But guys, this is the most difficult question of all. I'm still not sure. Let me be honest. If we are only basing on the fact that they are saying that skilled worker entry clearance applications for care workers and senior care workers are being closed while maintaining in-country switching applications for a transition period until 22nd July 2028. If we just take this statement just like it is, it's as if yes, you can still come, because when you are switching applications to, let's say, from a student to a care worker visa. But we all know that that 22nd July date is for those switching employers and not switching from another visa. And this statement that they are saying that the new rules applies to applicants from overseas and those switching from other routes, it means that those switching from student visa are also not going to come. But like I said, it's not clear. Now, someone is also saying that, Nanelle, I understand that the care worker visa has been cancelled. However, I would like to know if an international student who works 20 hours per week as a care worker, they would be eligible for a refund of their immigration health surcharge fees, or if their dependent works full-time as a carer, would they be eligible for a refund of them? So the refund is not based on the part-time job you are doing. The refund, or you being eligible for free IHS, is based on the visa you are on, not based on the work you are doing. So if you're a student, you have to pay it regardless. If you are a dependent, of a student, so you have to pay it. You will not be refunded. The only people who are exempt are those on a health and care worker visa in the UK. They and their dependents are the ones that are exempt, not a student who is doing care job. You're on a student visa. You are exempt based on the visa you are on, not based on the job you are doing. So I hope that is clear. Someone says that this new salary threshold affects those who have been in the UK on a health and care worker visa before 2024. If someone wanted to switch employer, it doesn't affect them, right? If you are switching employers, it doesn't affect you. These new rules are from those switching to these routes, and for those that are yet to come to the UK on these skilled worker visas, right? But for health and care worker holders, we have always been on an immigration salary list, and we have always been on a smaller salary threshold based on the national pay scale. It has always been beneficial to us because we are needed. Now that they said they're going to phase out the immigration salary list, and we don't know what's going to happen just yet. I hope this is clear, guys. Bring in more questions. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.